Welcome to Inkeep's first guest episode, our new series spotlighting leaders across customer experience, go to market, and operations teams. Today, we're kicking it off with Shanta Bodhan, Director of Customer Experience at Cornerstone OnDemand. Shanta's rare blend of HR and customer experience gives her a front view into how teams are evolving. We dive into how AI is reshaping customer experience, why customer experience leaders need to step into change management, and how to actually empower teams to use AI and much more. So, without any further ado, let's dive into the conversation with Shanta. So, Shanta, thank you so much for joining Inkeep today. I'm glad to have you.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, just getting to know each other, I've seen that you've gone from HR and benefits and sustainability into XR and immersive learning. What's one story that from that journey that really captures how you've gone on to care about your work and your performance, and what lessons you've learned from those prior roles that apply to today?
Yeah, I mean the common through line is these organizations have products that align really well with my values. So it's education is something that I'm very passionate about that ties in with corporate learning in the XR space. Sustainability is an area that's obviously important to many folks, and a lot of my past history has been in startups, so innovative organizations that are trying to drive and make change within these areas. So that's really something that is the through line for me and has really guided my career and really helps to foster that passion and why I come to work every day. So I think that's important. It's different for everybody. And these are values that just happen to align with me.
Nice, awesome, awesome. And so change seems to be a constant theme within things, and the world is changing today a lot, and everyone's talking about AI coming into the workspace.
Right.
Uh, in practice, what are like maybe some easy practical wins for AI when it comes to the teams versus challenges when it comes to adopting them? How do you think about those frameworks as a whole?
Yeah, absolutely. This really ties in with my HR background, and the short answer is it all comes back to having excellent change management with people. You can design the best workflows, you can implement the best processes, but if folks aren't ready to accept them and adopt them, then they will fail. And I've seen that happen many times. And this is actually a discussion I have with a lot of our customers at Cornerstone that are adopting some of our AI tools for the first time. It might be their first foray into leveraging the AI space. And this is about preparing your team and preparing your company in order to do that. So at Cornerstone, we have AI built in as a core value, really from the executive level team. We've recently hired a chief AI officer. He was a formal people tech leader at Amazon. And we also have playlists. We use our own corporate learning tools in order to teach our folks about AI. And then we also have an AI hub, which is previously created and built by the IT team in conjunction with leadership and is a safe space for our folks to leverage AI tools. So we can leverage different types of LLMs and things like that there. But you can see there's a lot of foundational work and a lot of planning that goes into the ultimate adoption of those tools within Cornerstone. And then we expand on that when we're talking to our customers and what works for them. This is just how things work for us. It's really different for every organization.
Gotcha, gotcha. So you can have the best models, the best tools, the best frameworks, and everything, but if there's no acceptance of the tool itself, it's very hard to implement. Um,
Right. And you have to think about that. What does acceptance mean for you and your company in a variety of different ways? For us, it has to come with core pieces in place around feeling safe, leveraging it internally. And then also our leadership and our IT team is feeling safe about the data that we're putting into it, right? It's a two-way street. So those are things that are important to us, and a hub really helps with that.
Gotcha, gotcha. But with regards to maybe the conversation versus with either customers versus internal, how do the
Mhm.
conversations really change there? Because obviously, if what we've seen at least is that many of the companies before they go on and evangelize any particular solution, they have to maybe dog feed their own, or maybe adopt some sort of a similar workflow internally so they can really speak to it fluently. Have you seen anything like that as well in the space?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a tool that really helps our own team practice hard conversations, for example, or sales conversations, basically any type of conversation that you can have with another person with a virtual human that's powered by AI in real time. So those are things that we test out extensively internally as our own customer zero before we have our teams or our customers leverage those as well. So those are things that we're constantly iterating and refining. And that's just one way that AI can be leveraged in today's world in order to help improve conversations, which is funny. We're leveraging virtual humans to improve conversations with real humans, but it's true. But those are ways that we can leverage our own internal tools so that we can advise our customers on the best way to leverage them too.
Nice. And with all those internal tools, do you find that you try to build them out internally, or do they come through vendors, or is it just a mix of both? What's typically the chart, like what's typically top of mind when it comes to evaluation as to how you would adopt those tools or how you would implement them?
It really depends. And sometimes a customer would need to build something in house if they don't feel comfortable leveraging an external tool. But there are so many great external tools out there that are kind of out of the box, ready to use, don't require any development. And I think that folks now are more attuned and able to pull in software from different sources in order to accomplish what they need. And so Cornerstone is a software company. We wouldn't exist unless that trust was there with our customers. The same way that I'm sure your organization fosters that trust as well. So it's really key to build on that and help our customers feel comfortable.
Absolutely. Okay. Okay. And on the topic of tools, like, we're seeing LLMs call tools better these days, to the point where they're now called essentially agents, where you
Mhm.
essentially LLM in an infinite loop and in its most basic form, and then give it some tools and then a sort of goal or a task to accomplish. As an AI agent company on ourselves, we're seeing AI take on more operational load in
Mhm.
customer service and customer success. So I guess from a high level, how do you see uh, companies adapting to these things? How do you see roles changing? Do
Yeah.
you feel that there's going to be a shift in the skills requirements and the talent needs, especially for you at Cornerstone, where talent management is a big part of the company? How do you see those potentially evolving?
They absolutely are. I mean, we see this with our customers literally every day, and we see it internally ourselves. So, like I mentioned, we recently hired a chief AI officer. We have a lot of focus that's being put on AI lately within Cornerstone itself, and we're starting to build that, and have already built it within a lot of our own products. But with our customers, we're really seeing a skills gap in this area. And as a skills company, this is something that we're looking to try to help our customers resolve as well. We're seeing a lot of skills where machine learning is something that's been around for a long time, obviously, but prompting is a skill. It is something that's learned. We have our own teams that are dedicated to being able to learn how to refine these with our own products,
Mhm.
and definitely see that as a need for other companies moving forward. And you're absolutely right. We're seeing that a lot of AI agents are taking on more operational tasks and freeing up a lot of time for other folks to do other types of things. So I think one of the biggest myths is that AI is going to take over our job. Nobody else is going to be able to have a entry level job anymore, which I think is completely false. I think that AI will take on some roles, but then the job market will open for other roles and it leaves more opportunity for those sorts of things. So I really look at this with an opportunity mindset instead of a fear mindset. That's really, how I evangelize this to our customers. And we see a lot of customers embracing that.
Absolutely. So it sounds like there's a skills shortage today, starting with prompting. Um, that might have been rendering some sort of fear as to like maybe the AI taking over some roles, but you're coming in and saying, "Hey, it's actually an opportunity to expand your horizons and do work that is more interesting," per se.
And yeah, not just prompting, there's when you're going through initial testing phases, there has to be human in the loop, for example, for understanding how to build out your AI platform. That requires human oversight. So there's a lot of areas where Humans are still involved in this process that make it more efficient. You just need to kind of adjust the mindset of they're not doing the task anymore, they're enabling something to do the task more efficiently, and that creates a different type of job market.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do you think customer success, customer support sort of roles will be more consultative going forward because a lot of the more mundane task loads are going to be essentially taken on by AI?
I hope so, and I'm seeing that now. We see how our own teams and our customers are looking at the types of information that they need to go and have a consultative conversation. The faster they can get that information, the better it is for them. Usually that's housed in disparate systems, for example. And so we have just an example, a product intelligence tool that's able to consolidate that data and then provide information to our internal folks. And it's that type of experimentation that we see our other customers also fostering so that they can have those efficiencies within their own organizations. We happen to have a software product, so it fits for us. For another company that might make widgets, maybe that's something that's not a fit. Maybe they would use it for something different. But we see that type of thinking being applied to some of these workflows.
Awesome. And then you said disparate tools earlier. From our experience when working in enterprises, we see one of the main challenges there is pulling the right context from those disparate tools to then the support agent or the success representative to come in and find exactly what they need in that particular case and then act on it in a consultative manner. If anything, that's one of the cases that we're trying to solve today actively at Inkeep. How do you see that particular use case coming up? How important is context for resolving cases quickly or educating customers even faster?
Yeah, no, it's a tough one, and good on you for tackling that head on because it's hard. I think that working with companies like yourself in order to create tools to better do that is something that's very important. The other piece is you can't just kind of create it and then walk away, right? I think a lot of folks look at an AI project as a true project where it has a beginning, middle, and an end, and it doesn't. Yes, there's a lot of setup involved in the beginning, but there's ongoing maintenance that has to happen. And here we kind of go back to the AI world, creating new skills and creating new opportunities. That person in the loop will still have to maintain some of that going forward over time, right? There's always iteration that needs to happen, there's always refinements. And so those two things kind of go hand in hand.
Absolutely. And those iterations always bring in new learnings bring in new skill sets, and then you're constantly evolving. I love that framework. I love that mindset because, yes, implementing AI is not a project, but actually it's now a continuous process that actually doesn't end. Um,
Right.
and adapting to that is essentially you upskilling on your own. Um,
Exactly.
got it. Got it. What's been like the most exciting learning so far in leading customer experience in an AI first environment so far for you?
Gosh, it's just the opportunity. There's so many different ways that AI can contribute. And so we see that in soft skills. We see that in XR in particular. AI can be combined with hands-on in a virtual world, hands-on learning. So coming back from my previous life as an HR practitioner and working within the L&D space previously, I never could have even imagined where the L&D space has taken us today. We have so many opportunities now to leverage spatial computing and leverage that in combination with AI to create entirely different ways and paradigms of learning and entirely different paradigms of ways of working. And that's really what we're seeing today now in the workforce and the adoption of AI is just the immense opportunity that it has to affect workflows, affect people's lives and skills, and then also affect how they perform that work and how they upskill themselves and how even they interact with each other via soft skills training, for example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like, what's maybe one bit of advice you would give executives that are looking to upskill their team with AI and AI agents as a whole that you've seen? Actually, where would you want to start if you were to like maybe start from a blank slate per se?
It all goes back to change management, right? So, and that environment is really something that they need to consider for themselves. So are they an organization that has gone through a lot of change already? And are your employees dealing with change management fatigue, for example? That can have an impact in how you walk into and explore this path. Obviously, company maturity is a big component in that. So if you work in a startup environment and there's a lot of excitement around AI and you have a lot of folks that are just kind of attuned to jumping in and doing something, you might have an environment where they're very enthusiastic about AI and then they get to kind of the end of a project and don't have a lot to show for it. They're not making that impact in the actual numbers that you want. So in that case, you may want to make sure that they're designing that AI change management and that platform so it leads to an outcome that you can celebrate and build off of with that trajectory. So it really kind of depends on the organization that you have, what your employees have gone through previously, what their orientation is to change, and then being able to design something that gives you those quick wins that you can build off of for later success.
Absolutely. Do you feel enterprises here have actually the advantage over startups for the first time? Mostly because they have that change management muscle, and that maybe that and the people as well to manage that change. Whereas startups are a little more stretched, their abilities to implement new technologies are more likely to be diffused. I'm hypothetical. I'm just being hypothetical. This is purely
Yeah.
hypothetical. I'm not basing it on anything here.
No, it's a really interesting question. I think that startup folks in general are a little bit more attuned to change because they have to be more nimble. They're used to being scrappy. They're used to working with smaller budgets. They're used to just kind of throwing stuff together and seeing how it works and seeing how things stick. So I would say that there are different advantages and disadvantages to each side. Yes, of course, startups don't have the resources or the revenue that a large organization does, but they might have a mindset that's more attuned to working quickly and faster to change. While enterprises, of course, have the budget, they have the methodologies that go along with that. In many cases, they might have a lot of the materials that they need to start powering something that's AI focused, but they may not have that change management attitude that they need for their employees to really hit the ground running. So, I wouldn't say that one is better or worse. Either one can can actually do this successfully or not based on their environment and how they approach it.
Awesome. And then maybe what's one belief or assumption that you think, as we enter a more agentic world, that maybe customer experience leaders need to let go of to succeed in this ever evolving landscape?
This is a big one for me. So, I really think that customer experience leaders look at this whole change management process as a HR thing. They don't have a lot of input in it. They're just there to like operationally do the work and make sure that customers are being served. And I think that that's completely not true. So when you think about what customer experience leaders like us do, we are involved in change management every day. We're diffusing very volatile customer. We have to build trust on the fly. We have to resolve things in the moment, and we have to get our teams excited about doing all of those things, right? So nobody calls customer experience or customer support to say that they had a really great day. So you're constantly dealing with these very volatile situations that require change management. And so I would say that, customer experience leaders need to really embrace that, pull up a seat at the table for making this change because they're primed and they're ready and they have all of the skills already in their back pocket in order to really drive this. And so being a leader in this area, being a leader in the space within their organization is actually not that hard for them. And it's something that their teams probably badly need to really drive meaningful change. So that's really what I would say is become comfortable with change management and really step up to the plate and show yourself as a leader within your organization to being able to do that and really partner with HR and the leadership team. And you can make a huge impact within your organization.
Absolutely. And just maybe piggybacking off that, a lot of companies are, as you alluded to earlier, are hiring chief AI officers like yours.
Mhm.
Where do they fit into this fold when it comes to adopting technology, adopting tools? At least from your experience, you don't have to necessarily speak on Cornerstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think it depends where they want to sit within the organization. So for us, this is really important as our organization, and our chief AI officer reports directly to our CEO. They might sit within product, they might sit within their own kind of sphere of influence for the rest of the organization. I think it really depends on what's right for them. But I could see them sitting in a variety of different areas, depending on where the organization intends them to make change first. But I would still say that this is something that spans across the entire organization. Every single department has the opportunity to improve workflows or their work in some way, leveraging AI tools. And the point is, how do you find that, and how do you dig that up? We had a great example of a team recently within Cornerstone that had an AI hackathon. So
Mm.
they just within their daily work decided to think about how they wanted to do experiments in order to figure out how they might leverage AI in just very mundane things that they do every day. And some of them worked and some of them didn't, but they just went out there and they tried, right? So, and that's kind of the point, is like, just step up to the plate, run some experiments, see what you can do. And I'm a big proponent of that, coming from the startup space, is just A/B testing and trying. And you'll find that some things really stick really well.
Gotcha. Abstract question.
Sure.
If you were building a digital customer experience team um, from scratch today, like what roles would you hire first? What backgrounds do you think are underrated for this kind of work today?
That's an abstract question. It's one of those things where you need some level of emotional intelligence, you need some level of being detail oriented, and you need some hands-on capability with the product, right? So I don't know if there's a specific background that would lend itself directly to being able to do that and be able to say, yep, that's an exact fit. I think it can come from a lot of different backgrounds. I joined customer success coming from an HR background, because I was working with HR products at that point in time. Um, and so, I would look more, instead of specific backgrounds, to, again, skills. We're a skills focused organization. I think that people have a variety of different types of skills that lend themselves in different ways. And so, kind of pigeonholing one person within one specific industry is probably not the right way to think about it. I would think about it in terms of, like, what does that person bring to the table? And how can their skills fit into a specific area? So, I would look for folks that have those types of skills. And we have to think about how AI plays in this space now. You're really, if you're not, you're just not able to really drive what you want to anymore, because this is the way of the future and the way that folks work, right? So, folks that have that way of interacting with the AI, being able to train it, being able to think about what that future forward motion means to them,
Mhm.
and then work with the tools in order to be able to do that.
What are some of your favorite tools? Maybe no endorsements here if you don't want to give them, but
I can't, but I can endorse my own tools. So at Cornerstone, we have a variety of learning management tools. And we have our own Cornerstone Immerse tool, which is AI powered as well. So we do a lot of customer zero testing.
gotcha. Awesome. And then if you were to start your career from scratch today, besides the AI stuff, what would you be advising young people in customer support, success, and just the wider customer experience function in an enterprise?
This is something that I'm really passionate about, and I do a lot of mentoring. So, the mentorship world, the teaching world, is something that's really important to me, and especially with being with an education and skills organization. So, it would have something to do with that. Just working with other folks and helping them understand first of all, what are they passionate about? How do they want to grow their career? And how they want to move forward with their passion in life. So that's something that's important to me, and I enjoy doing.
And I think it's probably more important to pursue that passion today while you can. uh,
Exactly.
sure. Okay, Shanta, thank you so much for your time today. No further questions on my part, but I really appreciate you offering your time.
Thanks so much for having me. It was such a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure.